Okay, I should be lazy. Let's see. Are we good? Am I live? Not yet. It doesn't show like it's appearing on YouTube. Okay, there we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Let me make sure my audio is good. Can you hear me fine? Yes, I hear me. So, it's a good morning for me here. I know for some of you it may be a good night or good evening. So, hello, come on in. While I'm waiting for people to come in, I am going to give a little bit of background on this and again issue my disclaimers at the top of the hour so I can get into this reading because I do owe you all another reading that I just did not do yesterday because I was, spending time with the moms. So I just didn't do it. So I'm going to get it out the way today. I do, however, want to acknowledge in real time that as of I know I seen it about 7 or 8 o'clock this morning. I hear that America and Israel has partnered up to hit Iran. They have dropped some heavy artillery on them because I don't know if I can say the other word, but they have just dropped some heavy artillery on them. There's also been recent news of Cuba unaliving, I think it was 4 Americans because they were getting close to their waters and they had reasonable cause to believe that they were there to cause some kind of retaliation or collect intel or whatever the case may be. So Cuba was protecting itself in its waters. And this is all coming in the culmination of things, following Trump's State of the Union. If you're not American, the State of the Union address is basically something that every president has given since, I don't know, Lincoln maybe. I don't know history like that. But it's pretty much a pep rally for the president to go in and, give accolades to all of the work that he's done, that he plans to do, that he continues to do, to honor, some of our vets, some of our military personnel, some of our government personnel that the president believes is doing a good job, is to give out awards, is to bring up, I would say is to, propagandize a little bit as well, politicking as my grandmother would probably call it. But it's to bring up certain incidents and things like that, stories, people who have been hurt in a certain way, so that the president can highlight their story in order to push through certain legislations, bring up things that they probably have been lobbied about, etc., etc., etc. Trump's was very much like a Trump rally, essentially, that he held within Congress, I believe, at the time. So it was atrocious. However, I'm just kind of giving this backstory because this was this maybe like a week after, maybe a few days after, at least I remember getting news or whatever that, Mexico was hit and people were stranded and stuck in Mexico because violence erupted where one of the cartel leaders, I believe it's of the, and I may be butchering this because, hello, I'm not Mexican. I'm clearly talking about a lot of American things. But I believe the cartel is CJNG cartel. They're one of the bigger cartels along with the Sinaloa cartel. Anybody who has watched Queen of the South, that's my motherfucking show. But if you ever watch Queen of the South, you kind of understand a little bit of what's going on. Of course, it's dramatized and I think a little more vulgar. Maybe it could be a bit more vulgar. I don't know. I don't know about these cartels and what they do. But I think it's sort of true from what I understand to what goes on in Mexico, that the government is very much in close relation and ties to the cartel. That's how they run their economy. That's how America runs its economy. So it's a lot of connections. It's kind of like a synastry partnership that the cartels have with the government entities. And so one of the leaders of the CJNG cartel was deleted, and Mexico has fallen under I guess you could say, violent takeover. It has erupted in a lot of violence. Again, I've heard of Americans being stranded. Some people are concerned that there may be retaliations, where certain Americans will just be kidnapped or chopped, or these kind of things in retaliation of their leader, because let the world tell it. And it wouldn't be hard for me to believe America is involved in the befalling of this leader, and is trying to hide their hands. And so yeah, I don't know how true that is. That's why we have the cards. I also want to see kind of like what was the energies leading up to El Mencho, I think is the leader's name. El Mencho's expiration was going to be coming forth for Mexico and the cartels. Now that this violence have erupted, what's going to be kind of like the conclusion or the energy going forward, and go from there. I may plan another reading later on to kind of go over the recent news with Cuba and Iran. I don't know, a lot of these geopolitical readings, because I'm not apolitical, clearly, but I'm not as informed of a lot of the political things that goes on, or a lot of the geopolitics that happen. I'm simply somebody who reads on it. I get the news like most of the general public do. I try to filter through it, and I try to go through it with discernment. And along that same lane, along that same vein here, I want you all to exercise that power of discernment with the news that I'm going to be delivering to you, because how I explain myself and my gifts to all of you who have been here before, and those of you new, hello, that's coming into this reading. I think of myself as a spiritual translator of sorts. That means that I am trying to translate and interpret certain messages and meanings and things like that I receive, and I try to provide that information, those messages, to you all as best as I can. But of course, like with most translations, sometimes things are misinterpreted, mistranslated, and I apologize ahead of time for that. I apologize for any ignorant statements I may say on this, because again, I'm not an expert. Okay, but I'm simply somebody who's trying to provide a message about something I think that is of concern, and something that we should be watching moving forward. And clearly you do too, because otherwise you wouldn't be here for this reading. So, I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I'm not trying to purposely lie or anything like that. It's just I'm human, and sometimes I may misinterpret or misunderstand something. Because, the other thing to this is, for background and things like that, I'm not close, and I don't have any kind of, I would say, buy-in with this. In the case of like, I don't have Hispanic relations, whether it's friends, family, those kind of things. Again, I'm not in close proximity to that. So there's maybe something here where I'm going to be ignorant, and yeah, let's make it a teachable moment, but I'm going to try my best. With all of that being said, and because I've rambled through my spiel here so you understand kind of like how to use my readings and why I'm conducting this reading, it still has to be stated, because a lot of people can be very litigious, that all statements made are alleged for entertainment purposes only. I do try to tell you all when I am, or differentiate for you all when I am giving my opinion, personal news, like I have did at the top of this hour. If I'm giving something that I'm reading from the cards, or when I'm channeling, if I can, because sometimes it comes through so fast. But I want to make sure we have that space and we have that understanding, this mutual understanding, a few housekeeping rules before I get into this reading. So if you are okay with that and you understand that, let's get into this. Again, this may be a heavier topic, so I understand if you are not going to stick around for this reading because it's a bit much for you. That's perfectly understandable. But for everyone else who is ready to go through this reading, we should continue forward. I thank you all who did drop in just at the top of the hour to see, help me with those views. Thank you for helping me out. Do also want to remind you before you skedaddle, if this is something too heavy for you, make sure to drop a like button and subscribe so you can see the next time I upload. Because as you can see, I have a pretty sporadic schedule. So getting into this. Oh, and let me also mention that too, because I just did it. You hear me do these laughs sometimes. Sometimes it is just out of jokiness. Sometimes I am going to be trying to lighten the mood. And sometimes it's a nervous laugh. I just do it. Okay. No, don't take any offense. I do have a nervous laugh. It is what I do. I just want to provide that ahead of time. Okay, so first things first, we're going to look into was the Americanas involved, okay? The US of A's, okay? Okay. So it's interesting enough we get the star card here on the end. The star card sometimes for me signals a yes. I want to put this in here for you all who are, watching it on the shorts play, so you can see what I mean here with the star card. But sometimes the star card to me sometimes signify a yes. But to me, in this instance, it does signify the hopes, wishes, and desires becoming true, especially with this coming up in the upright. But going back, I do want to show that we do have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. To me, usually the Six of Pentacles is kind of like a reciprocal energy. Hey, if you give me $3 now, I'll make sure to return that to you with interest. Or let's do something that's mutually beneficial. But in this case, to me, with the Six of Pentacles, it's almost like a sure mutual destruction. This coming up here with the Six of Pentacles. I'm also getting something trying to come through. It's like take this as a warning, as a sign for something, maybe with the Six of Pentacles, especially with this coming up in reverse. So I wonder if this is more so along the lines of a short mutual destruction. If they're going to cause trouble here, they're going to cause trouble for you as well. We're going to make sure that happens. We're going to bring attention to that. We do also have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse here too. Typically, when I see the Nine of Pentacles, to me, this is kind of like financial independence, freedom. I also sometimes think of like singular womanhood, being free as well. But with this coming up reverse, of course, to me, that feels more along the lines of like, we're going to restrict, we're going to slow down any kind of financial freedom that you think or financial resources, or any material resources that you think you are going to have access to. For those of you who don't know, Pentacles is usually resources. So I think of like materials, I think of time, I think of money, energy. All of those things to me resonate as like resources. Oh, what do you know? And the biggest resource card of them all is underneath the pile here with the wheel card popping up. The wheel sometimes also speak to fortune. It can speak to a big gamble, a big debt being paid here, or a karmic debt. Some people would take that as, with the wheel card coming up here in the upright. I do also have the Queen of Cups. What is it with this feminine energy? I don't know if a female runs one of these cartels or something, or if a female is in charge. Well, I think we do have a female that's in charge. Or a feminine energy, I should say. I mean, I say female, a feminine energy that is in charge on the U.S. side of things. I have to remember that I'm pulling if we were involved. And so I'm seeing here with the Queen of Cups. Let me say the U.S. government, not we. And then we also have the Two of Swords, a tough decision that has been made because it's coming up in the upright. So a woman, some political leader or a feminine energy here made a tough decision, made a gamble, made a bet, and it seems like it did work out in her favor, or in their favor. Let's see if I can get some more clarity here. one card fell on the floor. I gotta grab that one. Okay, and you see that one. Let me grab this one that's on the floor. I had a couple of other cards that fell too. I want to get those and set them to the side because they may be giving me more information. Okay, let's see. So these are the ones that actually fell out. So the actual ones that fell out, we do have the Chiromancer. This is delivering news collaboration. This did come sideways. So to me, that's usually like blocked energy. So I'm going to leave that like so on top of the Six of Pentacles. We also do have the Pilgrim here. This is dealing with opportunities and growth. Look at that. And it's coming out with the Nine of Pentacles. And then I also have the Mascari. I'm not sure how you actually pronounce this, so sorry if I'm butchering it. But this is hiding your true self projection. And this is coming up in reverse. And notice it's coming up with the star card here as well. The additional cards that fell, but I'm not actually going to count them to this reading. Hold on, let me move these over a little bit so you can still see the image a little bit. We have the Spy Master, knowledge and trust is what that deals with. I wouldn't be surprised. To me, this speaks of like Intel, CIA, spies, that kind of energy. We do, excuse me, have the Runaway as well. And this is dealing with secrets, running from problems. Again, the Orator, communication and confidence. And then we also have the Twins also coming up here in reverse. And this is dealing with self-protection, dual natures. Okay. Sorry, I wanted to check my video and make sure it was properly running. Self-protection and dual natures. The Orator, confidence, secrets, knowledge, distrust. So I'm not sure how I can decipher this. What I am going to say, and I'm going to pull out here, is that I would not be surprised if America was involved in some sense for economic reasons. I mean, it all boils down to economics with this administration. That whatever they need to do to enrich themselves, I don't even think so much as to enrich the country. I think it's more so to enrich themselves, to fill power gaps, or to, I want to say, like, funnel everything through this one power structure. Like, they don't want all these, like, okay, the way I'm seeing it, okay, this is where I'm kind of channeling. I told you I tried to tell you all ahead of time. To me, the message feels like we don't, in the old world, the old way we used to do things, there were a very lot of little siloed powers. Yes, all of the information, we was gathering information about each other. We knew about this and this and that, but who knows if we was always getting proper information, because we had too many, like, the gaps, the connectors in between these things, the spies, could easily flip. Those people change, or the head of the structure changed too frequently, so we weren't sure we was actually carrying the right information. So now it's like somebody is coming in and they're like clearing the board, and they're like, no, we need to make sure that we can funnel all of these power structures, all of these power vacuums that's going on. We need them to come into one. We don't want all these different, here in Mexico you have the cartels, here over here in Thailand you have the scam artists or whatever. I don't know. In Britain, you have the royal family or something. It's like we need to break down a lot of these. Not saying that this is essentially what it is. I'm just giving this as an example. Follow. It's kind of like we're trying to break a lot of those down, and we're trying to concentrate it. We're trying to. It's almost like we're trying to house it in one box here. And we can't have all those separations of powers. All of these powers, it needs to be funneled into some kind of hierarchy, essentially. I thought that's always how it has been, as quiet as it's kept, but maybe somebody's trying to pull the reins a little tighter, because the purse strings are, it's a little thinner than they remember. So I do think if America wasn't directly involved at the beginning of it, I think on the back end they are definitely going to try to profit resource or material wise from this, and kind of like, hey, well, can we, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something along the lines like, hey, let us put in a cartel. We'll say it's a Mexican cartel, but it's really heavily dependent and ran by and paid for by, because I'm getting like, this message is paid by the US government, like, that kind of thing. I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of like the US is trying to make sure that they have a faction, some de facto pseudo leaders in certain positions of power in these former power structures that were running things in these other countries. And I think almost kind of along those lines is coming up here in Mexico, if I'm reading this correctly. I could be wrong because, again, I'm not that brushed up and clear on geopolitics, but I am trying to communicate the message as best I can. Now let's look into the energies surrounding El Mencho's deletion and see what's going on. What was the energies leading up to that? What was going on around that? If I can get anything on it. Oh, I think I got all of my cards here. I don't know which one fell first because I was concentrating, but we do have the Page of Cups here. We have the Queen of Pentacles. So here we are getting into the people, the players here. We do have the Three of Swords as well. That's dealing with heartbreak, a break, a separation of some sorts. Yes, I can understand for the cartel why this would be a very mournful, very hurtful action that has taken place. You've taken their leader. And then we are, interesting enough, we have the Two of Cups. Is somebody about to join forces here with the Two of Cups? Usually I get that with the Two of Pentacles, but with the Two of Cups in this instance, on this reading, if it wasn't some kind of partner or something involved and leading up to this situation, was there maybe a deal, some emotional buy-in on some deal or collaboration or something that was getting ready to be sealed when they were like, yeah, this, you got to go. But I don't know if he had a romantic partner. I wouldn't be surprised. I know he's a cartel leader. He probably has several romantic involvements. But yeah, it's funny enough, we have the Page of Cups, and this is usually dealing with a water sign of some sort. We're thinking, your Scorpios, your Cancers, your Pisces. If not that, it's dealing with a particular situation, which isn't surprising. This is a very emotionally charged situation here. They also deal with a lot of money with the Queen of Pentacles, and this is coming up in reverse. Well, I'm getting something like, I almost feel like is a betrayal of some sorts, or somebody, it's almost like somebody didn't pay their tithes or something. The Queen of Pentacles. If it's not talking about a situation or a place here, it's dealing with a person, or an entity. I'll say that an entity, whether that's a person, place, or a thing. Because for me, the core cards is like nouns, or a person, place, or a thing. It's talking about a person, place, or a thing, an entity dealing with materials, resources. Again, some earth sign energy here. Think your Capricorns, your Virgos, your Tauruses. So, mainly for me, I'm thinking about food, money, family, mainly when it comes to this, but I'm not sure. We also have the Ten of Cups coming up here as well. This is dealing with, I usually think of like family, again, like family structure, but this could be dealing with happiness. Why are people happy? What is the emotional buy-in here that people are turning out okay, especially when you see this Three of Swords? We also see this Five of Pentacles. Here it comes again. Something with the resources, the finances, maybe some kind of agreement, deal that has not been sealed, that has not come through, or finalized. It's some financial loss. It could be the leader himself. That's you remove the leader, you kind of remove the structure and the ways of kind of like how things operate and go. You would think, even with criminal organizations, you still hear organization in there. There's still something of like, hey, that we still have a second in command, a third in command. We still have, our marching orders essentially, even when the head is removed. And then we also get here the Knight of Wands as well. So this is dealing with the fire of desire, the passion, coming up here as well. This is also probably dealing with another entity that is, think of your fire signs, your Aries, your Leos, your Sagittarius is here. Some kind of spitfire energy, somebody with a lot of passion, a lot of energy kind of coming into this. I want to say hothead, but again, I don't know the players in this situation, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I do need more clarity on this here. I knew this was probably going to be a difficult reading because I have no knowledge on this, but I said, screw it. Test it. Try it out. The Muse, generosity, naivete coming up here for the Page of Cups. And that's funny enough when that comes up with the Page of Cups, because typically when I see the Page of Cups, it's very Piscean energy to me, very head in the clouds, very dream, scape, how things get done. Notice that this is also cups as well. So, okay, wait. Ooh, hold on. Divine timing and evaluation is the other card that's coming up here. And this is dealing with the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, what is that one else sticking up here? As you can see, it's sticking out to the side. This is the storyteller, viewpoints, control, puppets. I think it's some backstabbing happening. And then we have the Smith, overthinking, taking action. What's the underlying energy? Awareness and reflection. The Tailor, attention to detail and pride. Yeah, something makes me feel like this was planned out in a sense. And look, the King card is coming up in reverse. It's dealing with control, reversal of fortune. Reversal of fortune, control. Was somebody vying for his spot? Or it could be kind of like, again, remember I was talking about in the beginning here of somebody trying to consolidate. Maybe it's kind of like a rivalry thing, like, okay, we're trying to take over your turf, we're trying to take over whatever you have, because the resources have been getting squeezed, it has been getting smaller, we need a bigger, if we upscale, if we take over your stuff, then we can finally branch out and do what we want, with little to no recourse or somebody pushing back, because we have more control, more, it's like a bargaining chip kind of thing. Maybe that's where the betrayal and that, like, that consolidation energy that I'm picking up on is coming through here. So somebody is benefiting from this for sure. But it's almost feels like it's driven out of desperation. It's like a last ditch effort. It's almost like we were fine to coexist. Again, this is all alleged for entertainment purposes only, and I feel like I'm picking up on a certain energy that I could be misinterpreting here. It's almost like we were fine to coexist before, but now things are, we've fallen on tough times. Things are harder, so better me than you. Okay, is essentially the energy that I'm picking up here. Okay, let's see. What's the expectation, the outcome that we can see from this moving forward? What's going to be the possible outcomes? Because, Mexico is struggling right now. And I believe this is coming at a bad time, too, economically for Mexico. Because the other thing that I understand is that the Americas, and I'm saying the Americas because I believe it's supposed to be both South America, the USA, and then North America, Canada. Hello. We're supposed to be holding the, is it the FIFA or the whatever the soccer tournaments is. I think we're supposed to be hosting that. And I know is it next year or 2028, we're supposed to be also hosting the Olympics here. In, I want to say, is it California or San Francisco? So this isn't coming at a good time right now for Mexico, because I believe they just poured all this money into like preparing for all of the people, the tourism that they're expecting to get from the FIFA Cup or the soccer tournament. And please, I'm American. I'm gonna call it soccer. Don't come at me. So I know this is coming at a bad time for them economically, because now people are afraid to come here, or I should say go there, or afraid of like what's going to be the repercussions after this. And people think this may be an economic move to tank Mexico in a sense. It could also be kind of like a prodding to get them to the table for some agreement or deal. I'm not sure, but again, I'm just laying those facts out there because I know that was some of the news that has come through and certain speculations and things like that around this whole situation. So okay, that was a whole book. We're not counting that. Funny enough, we get the Lovers. Okay. We also get the Ace of Pentacles. Let's see what else is going to come up here. I think somebody is going to be joining forces. Or again, somebody is consolidating power here. Somebody is doing this to consolidate power or joining forces with somebody, because I got the Two of Cups last time and now I'm getting the Lovers. And the Lovers, that to me, the Two of Cups and the Lovers card are like the two strongest, like, yes, romantic partnerships, but I think of like we are being, in this case, it feels more like we are being united, and we are being united under one passion project. We are being brought together under some emotional buy-in. So essentially think of like, I'm trying to think of something. And I know it's not inclusive of everybody, but you hear here in America there's a lot of emotional turmoil and buy-in when it comes to things of like what is that, immigration, right? Like, our economy is so bad because the immigrants are taking our jobs. It's like, no. There's also the buy-in of like, well, the immigrants are actually helping our economy because they're taking on the jobs that you think you're too good to do, that you no longer want to do. And so they're not actually filling your jobs, but they're helping stabilize your economy, especially when you're taking the grander picture of like, you all aren't having kids like you used to, and you are supposed to be the land of opportunity. It's kind of like we are being drawn under one nation under God, indivisible by, whatever. That's kind of like the energy that I'm getting here with the Lover's card. Also, the Lover's card can also speak to being in alignment as well. So, that's the energy. You also have the Ace of Pentacles, the start of something new, some resource, some time, some energy, money, whatever you want to call it, that's being poured into this land, being united under some kind of cause. I feel like somebody is trying to unite people under some kind of cause here. That's something that keeps coming through for me. And then we also have the King of Cups coming up here in reverse. This is not, it almost feels like this is not some emotional agreement or decision being made. This is all out of like not analytics, but like analytical thinking. But yes, you find it hard at this time and moment, but I promise down the road it will all make sense. Maybe it only just makes sense to this person, because again, I don't know where this energy is coming from. I'm just reading these cards and I'm trying to give you the message here. I haven't tried to hone in on who it is because quite frankly, I probably wouldn't even be even remotely close in providing you those details because I don't know the players that's involved in this. Okay? So I just want to be very clear with that. And that is not my strong suit, picking somebody out of a crowd in a reading that a situation I know nothing about. Oh, I had a lot of cards. Let's note these and then I'm gonna throw them back in. Usually with readings like this, I do this because it's trying to communicate some kind of energy. Notice that we have the twins again popping up. We also have the Forgotten. This is dealing with missed opportunities, fear of failure. I'm also getting the Herald, small regrets and longing. I'm also getting the Spy Master again. I'm getting the Astronomer, which deals with discovery and augury. I have the Acolyte, new projects and learning. Look at that. Kind of similar, huh? Then we also have the Merchant, self-worth and trade. The Sentinel, I'm laughing with that because it's kind of like, what do they call it? It's like sometimes you have to do something bad in order to get something good out of it. Then I have the Sentinel, determination, certainty, the Champion, achievement, downfall. And then I also have the Air, unseen potential and hesitation. Again, I would not be surprised if you see some kind of collaboration going on with this. I don't know if it's going to be the SINALOA cartel and the CJNG cartel joining forces and consolidating energy and power. I don't know if it's going to be something, and as quiet as it's kept, there's belief that there's already a relationship between the Mexican government and the cartel. I don't know if that's going to become more solidified, more out in the open. I'm not sure what this consolidation, this grouping of powers coming in, but I think that's something you can definitely see. There's going to be some like new partnership or collaboration being had here. Oop, and then I had a card fall on the floor. Ouch. Ouch. So then we have the Walker, the unknown journey. Here we go with these pile of cards again. I'm going to let the Acolyte stick because that is coming up again. Remember, that came up with those pile of cards that fell earlier. Usually if it pops out like that again, it's meant to be here. So we have the Walker coming up here. We have the Acolyte dealing with new projects and learning. And then, let's see here. What's this last card? Oops. Then we also have the Smith, overthinking and taking action, Funny, this is coming up following the King of Cups energy here. Again, when I read my court cards, you know, the kings, queens, knights, the pages, they kind of read like nouns to me, person, place, or thing. So I think this is dealing with the entity, a situation, a person that is, you know, again, some water sign energy. Think your Scorpios, your Pisces, and your Cancers. And to me, I think it's more so getting people, I think it's trying to unite people under a united front, or understanding, maybe again, emotional manipulation, maybe of some sorts, of like, this is how I'm going to get you all to do it, but it's for the betterment of something else that I have planned down the road here. The underlying self-worth and trade, this is the underlying energy. We have the hunter, this is dealing with sure-footedness and predestination. And then we also have, is it a faith thing? The priest, perseverance and faith, because this is coming up in the upright. Notice the other underlying card here is deception and trickery. Is it trying to, is it something religious? Listen, I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't know too much about this. I don't know. The catalyst, radical changes and taking control. See, yeah. Inspiration and gratitude. Yeah, it feels like, are they trying to unite people under a new belief of like, no, we're actually good for you. We're the protectors and your providers. As if we didn't do this, then you all would be left out in the cold. Ace of Cups, Four of Swords, and the Three of Wands. Ace of Cups, the emptying out or a depletion of some kind of emotional tie-in, not starting something new emotionally. The Four of Swords, it's like this is like healing after a heartbreak, a disruption, an upsetting opportunity. And then we also have the Three of Wands here again. That's like, to me, that's like stagnancy, not moving on. Could that possibly be dealing with, what would they call it? Like shipping? Shipping, trade routes? I don't know. Okay, now this is me purely giving my own conspiracy here, okay? In light of some recent news that has come forward as well. Because again, if you don't know, I'm going to reiterate it again if you're just coming in. The U.S. and Israel has just attacked Iran, and there is belief that America is moving in on Cuba as well. We've seen the recent things with, was that Venezuela, where, you know, they've moved in and the American government has taken over the oil refineries, and who knows what's going to go with that. We're pretty much the landowner or heralds, the chaperone, the shepherd of Venezuela right now. And then you see America is trying to, or the American government, let me just associate here, you know, differentiate here. They are trying to also take over, you know, Greenland. You see them kind of doing this power move with Iran. So my conspiracy here is, I would not be surprised on like a grand level or something of some sort, my tinfoil hat on, if they are trying to use the cartel or wrangle control of the cartel in order to use them as like a pseudo military or guard personnel for how they move in the Caribbean islands and then throughout South America, Mexico, and use them to kind of like, because again, this is in CIA playbook. It's one of the oldest tricks in the book. We'll take some of you and we'll displace you over here in Cuba. We'll find a way to get you into Cuba. You kind of know the language. Y'all probably don't really like each other. It's enough differences there. You're upset that you have been displaced, uprooted. Therefore, havoc follows. You're doing what we need you to do. Therefore, making it easier for us, once you decentralize power and you made it hard for any kind of semblance of control or consolidated control or government or rulership to happen, it makes it easier for us to kind of come in there and take over and do what we want. That's my conspiracy. I don't know if that's what this is actually alluding to, but I would not be surprised when we see those breadcrumbs spread out through in this. And I for one will want to be informed of any changes with this. So if anybody who is in Mexico or who is invested in this, who have family that's involved in this, whatever the case may be, and you're watching this reading, please feel free to share your thoughts, your insights on this reading in the comment section below. Because again, I don't do this out of maliciousness. I'm really curious and really want to know. And I think this is an important situation we should all keep our eyes on. I know it's a lot of bouncing balls going on right now. It's just so much everywhere. What's that movie? It's so much happening anywhere, everywhere, all at once kind of situation going on here. But they're all important, and I feel like they all kind of lead to a certain outcome in the end. So I do want to be informed on this, and I do want to know if there's something that I picked up on that you can expand upon, and if there's something that I said here that I clearly misspoke on, because I'm not saying I'm any kind of professional or what do they call it? I'm not some kind of like expert on this. So I'm open to hearing. With all of that being said, I thank you so much for tuning in, for watching this video. Yes, even if you're going to watch it on replay later on, I still want to hear those insights and stuff that you all have as well. With all that being said, I wish you all a great night, morning, or evening, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.